Hungry Steak here again with one of my Buzz Bee Classics series episodes, this time featuring the venerable Buzz Bee Tek 6. Now, if Captain Xavier calls the Maverick, the ubiquitous Maverick, meaning there's tons of them and they're all around everywhere, well, I guess we're going to have to call this the Buzz Bee version of that. The Tek 6 is everywhere. You find them thrifting for, maybe $1 or $2 or less at some points. And most people buy them to just basically cannibalize them. That's kind of its life anymore. People actually get the springs out of it, the screws out of it, any other spare parts that they want to keep. Sometimes just even the shells for scraps for integration purposes. But what about the Tek 6 itself? Well, it originated in 2003, although you don't hardly ever find those models. It was introduced in the Twin Tek 6 pack, that I'll put up an image of it right over here. Or, actually better yet, here. Yes. I'll put it right here beside me, so you can take a look at the Twin Tek 6, which shared the same design as what I've showcased before with the Tek 10. The kind of sci-fi alien blaster looking design. But what is more commonly seen is the design more like this or this. This being one that Damien Wisenett sent to me. This is the Air Blasters Tek 6, and I've actually been graciously donated a number of them by Ryan Ingolstad of this variant. This is the Buzz Bee version, and it was introduced under multiple lines over the time period that it actually had a decently long run from 2003 to its final year of production in 2011. And in 2011, it was under the Buzz Bee line, and this one itself is one of the later versions. This is a 2009 model with the Air Warrior sticker on it. But 2005 was when it seen a redesign away from the original Tek 10 space style, which let me just go ahead and grab right here. Let me grab one of these. This is what I'm referencing. This is the 10-shot Tek 10. This version here was what the Tek 6 started out as. It's also a same design scheme and color schemes that was shared with the single Tek. Now, the later designs, which would be this here, this is the Air Blasters. This is an older series before Air Warriors was the line designation for Buzz Bee. But the Air Blasters, this one here that I'm holding is actually a 2005 variant. And this is the redesign that was put into production after the first two initial runs in 2003 and 2004. Now, very little changed in the actual function, as in here is another, this is a little bit later model, as in this is 1 year later. But this is a slightly different version that, as you see, is a Buzz Bee Air Warriors. The Air Warriors line started to show up around 2005, 2006. And there was a bit of overlap between the Air Blasters and the Air Warriors before the Air Blasters line completely disappeared around 2008, 2009. And yes, there is some gray area there where some of these were produced alongside each other, with Buzz Bee continuing the Air Blasters line and having the Air Warriors coming into play in 2005, 2006, 2007. And even some areas not getting Air Warriors branded stuff until 2008. Very highly dependent on the country and even the region of the country that you're in. This is something where my research into Buzz Bee history for this series and just for gaining knowledge in general, that's where this came into play, as finding a lot of discrepancies. The Nerf Wikipedia is a decent reference, but for most things I have actually went to the company themselves, as well as searching up retailers' records and whatnot. But there's a lot of overlap. Different styles, which, hey, check that out for one. You have stickers on both sides, painted on both sides, back in 2006. Hey, Nerf still doesn't do that. But shade throwing aside, the Tek 6 really stayed true to what it was. It was a 6-shot revolving cylinder fed blaster with a top prime spring-powered, and direct plunger tube. Throughout the entire series, from 2003 to its final years in 2011, and there were some still around in 2012, but on records purposes, 2003 to 2011 was its 8-year run. And you can still find some new in the package on retailers that do closeouts still now today. But 2011 was listed as officially its last year. And going all the way back, it still had a direct plunger tube design, which is really, really nice, considering the fact that everything from Nerf was primarily reverse plunger tube. And today, in an unmodified form, again, this is the secret I keep for everyone is that I'm sharing now, is using X-Shot darts allows you to, with unmodified classic Buzz Bee blasters, to load up and have decent performance. Now, these typically shoot in the 50s. Typically. I actually have modded a few of them. You can see those videos on my channel here in my Worthy series, where I have done 2 different mods that I've showcased. I've done others, but 2 that have been showcased, where the Tek 6 has been turned into an 80 to 90 foot per second usable blaster. And that's something you can easily do. And you can achieve elite level performance just by brassing this cylinder. Drill all of the dart posts out and insert 17 30-seconds brass in the length of about a dart's length, and that actually not only does it allow you to get good performance with standard lengths, it also allows for half-length darts. So there is a little more potential than what people give it credit for. But looking at it as it is a classic blaster that, in this day and age, it outperformed its rivals. I mean, the Maverick came out later. This outperformed it. And did so in a way that people don't give it credit for. The Tek 6 is, again, I think it's one of the grandfathers to the blaster hobby we have today. The top prime, spring-powered, front cylinder revolver is still one of basically the go-to blasters. This day and age, I look at the X-Shot Reflex 6 is probably my #1 recommendation for that. I absolutely love the Buzz Bee Zenith, which has kept the Buzz Bee pistol, going through the time. I wish that would make a return, but it's like currently, Buzz Bee's kind of moved on to other things like the belt-fed, Battle Blazer, which still shares the top prime pistol format, but even today, you have the Disruptor, you have the Strong Arm, you have the Reflex 6, and you have the Dart Zone Blitzfire and Quickfire 8. Those are all very good pistols that I personally put more of the lineage back to this. Yes, the Maverick came out, and it put the pop-out cylinder top prime pistol, it put that kind of on the map. However, more of the designs of today share traits with this old blaster that Buzz Bee brought out with a top prime. And yes, keep in mind, this is a 2006. Here's a 2005. These still function and fire to this very day. The spring in them is what most people go for. It's around about a 5 kilogram rated spring. So today, I would say, instead of thrifting these to cannibalize them, instead, why not just go get yourself a 6 kilogram strong arm spring or retaliator spring, depending on what project you're using. And I'm going to do a separate video on specifically why there is actually a good argument to be made for not destroying these and instead supporting a manufacturer who makes products for our hobby instead. Because this is a good pistol and a fun mod in and of itself. So, what are the drawbacks of the Tek 6? I can't just be a blind fan. I have to talk about what are the drawbacks of this classic design. Well, Buzz Bee, for all their infinite wisdom in good designs they've came up with over the years, there's one thing that's always bugged me. In their classic pistols, the cylinders have slots down each barrel. Doesn't make any sense. There's actually a groove cut down each and every little barrel. I'm going to come in here. It's hard to see, but you might catch a glimpse there. And while I'm showing this, you also have those very large dart posts. It makes it very hard to find modern darts that actually work without, gutting that cylinder, which is the main thing in a Tek 6 mod. But thankfully, X-Shot's darts, the XL darts, they have a large inner diameter, and they fit the dart posts quite well, and allow you to, without modification, get okay performance. So, looking at the Tek 6s, what did you get? You got, for its time period, thinking this one here is also a 2005, you got a blaster that worked well compared to its peers, offered higher capacity than a lot of pistols of the time, and it's still functional today. Is it worthy in stock form of being used today? Well, not particularly. I mean, this one here, you're going to get about 55 feet per second at best. And as you see there, sometimes some misfires. So let's try that again. There we go. Yeah, some of the dart posts, this one in particular has the hooked dart post. And as you can see, those dart posts actually have a little flare out to each side. I don't understand the engineering behind that because it's creating excess drag. Even on Buzz Bee's old darts, it still causes extra drag. So it's maybe an intentional performance limiter for, legal reasons. But the Tek 6 is a venerable classic that everybody knows and sees in the hobby. You'll see them everywhere in thrift stores, on eBay, and thrown in lots on Facebook Marketplace. Should you ever consider getting one? Of course. It's part of the blaster hobby's history. Should you ever mod it? Absolutely. Don't destroy these. There's actually some potential in there. And I've got 2 videos that I will put at the end screen. Again, it'll be over here, here, and here on the end screen of the video, where you can check out a couple of the mods I've done on them. And I think you might be surprised. There is actually some potential in these. So, it's not scrap fodder. You don't just gut these just for that spring, because it's around about a 5 kilogram. You can get those anywhere at this point in time for your own projects. But the Tek 6, this to me is one of the staples that put Buzz Bee on the map. After its first few years introducing blasters, this was, at the time, probably the premier pistol on the market from an upstart company at the time. Because remember, Buzz Bee only became a company founded in 2002, putting out its first products in 2003, and this is the redesign in 2005. This is actually a solid blaster. Give it a few updates today, and almost like an Icon series Tek 6 should make a reappearance, if I had anything to say about it. Because picture that with a proper cylinder, a larger plunger tube, and a big spring, like comparable internals to the Zenith, which that can be made to hit 150 feet per second, no problem. It'd be nice to see. Longer grip though. But this monkish shape with my Buzz Bee Classic series, and this one was a little long because the Buzz Bee Tek 6 deserves a little bit of recognition and a little more time. Now, I will admit there are going to be some things that I overlooked. The Tek 6 history is crazily varied. There's a lot to try to discover. Go through and try to find some of your own. If you find any interesting, weird designs, I have a Discord you can share it in. I'll put that in the pinned comment. So be sure to check that out and share anything that you find that's Buzz Bee related or blaster related of any kind with me in the Discord. Again, that link will be in the description below. Feel free to come by and drop in and chat anytime. But it's Monkish Jake with the Tek 6 with one more Buzz Bee Classic Series episode. Be sure to stay tuned for the next one.